Hi, I'm Alex Elle, and I write books for a living. The Hey Girl podcast was created with sisterhood and storytelling in mind. Hey girl.
Hey girl.
Hey girl.
Hey girl.
I'll be sitting down with some phenomenal women to discuss love.
I believe we grew distant out of love of some type, like, I don't want to hurt you.
Loss.
Really don't know what's going to trigger that feeling of grief in any moment.
And a topic very important to my work, self-care.
I'm holding on to this self-care with every ounce of me.
Join us as we journey through sharing together. This week's guest is entrepreneur Erin of Foster & Co. Design. Erin is my cousin-in-law, so this is like family affair in here. It's very fun. When I heard Erin's story about starting her own cabinetry business, I was, of course, immediately intrigued. It's super admirable to know that you have all these things set in place and you're making money and, you know, like you've paid off your debt like that. That is what people need to hear. She encountered some health issues that gave her a new outlook on life.
I had a kidney transplant 3 years ago.
I remember.
Yeah, that just really pushed me to say, I have a second chance at life, so what should I be doing with it?
She decided to use her talents and her hard work ethic and her love for interior design to start her own company.
I did kitchen design for like a large company for about 10 or 11 years before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
It just took my time.
This is Erin's story. Hey girl.
Hey girl.
Hi. It's so funny in the intros. I always laugh after, so I've been doing better at like pausing because I'm a giggle box. But no, thank you so much for being here, Erin.
I'm so glad to be here. This is such an honor.
I'm very excited to chat with you about your entrepreneurship journey. We've talked about it a little bit. For those of you out there, Erin is my cousin-in-law. She's Ryan's cousin. So this is like family affair in here. It's very fun. And a lot of you wanted to know more about entrepreneurship, specifically women in business. So having you here is very special for season 2 because we have a lot of listeners who are trying to get their foot in the door with business or just trying to figure out the next steps, like how do we do X, Y, and Z?
Sure.
Specifically when you're a one-woman show like I am and like you are. So if you could just give our listeners a little bit of background about you, personal, if you want to share, career-wise, and just, you know, who you are so we can get the party started.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to be a one-woman show. And I love being around other women that understand the pain, the highs and the lows of it.
Yeah.
I would say that one of the important things about my background is not just the entrepreneurship, but also health.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of the fact that I wanted to go out and start my own business was because I wanted to get more balance in my life for health reasons. I had a kidney transplant 3 years ago.
I remember.
Yeah, and that just really pushed me to say, okay, you know, what is this life about? I have a second chance at life, so what should I be doing with it? You know, if it ended tomorrow, what would I have wanted to have tried?
Right.
So along those lines, that's when I was like, well, you know, I've been working really hard for another company and maybe I could do this on my own.
Yeah.
And it sort of had always been something, you know, in the back of my mind, but a little too scary to want to jump in and do it. So my background is interior design. I did kitchen design for like a large company, for a medium-sized company for about 10 or 11 years before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
It just took my time. And mostly because it's a complicated business. So I wanted to know that I was knew enough about each area to take it on myself. It's complicated and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. So my company is kitchen design and I sell and provide cabinets for custom home builders.
And they're so pretty.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I had no idea that you worked for a large company or medium-sized company prior to your transplant, and that was kind of your like awakening.
Yeah.
What did it feel like when you were working for someone else?
It was tough. So I think that, you know, if you're going to start your own business, you really have to know that you're self-managed, that you will get the job done. And so for me, for working for a bigger company, I realized that I was overworked and it was a constant struggle because I wanted to do a good job. And So it's great. I worked my way up in that company pretty quickly, but that's kind of an important part of it, that if you working for that company, I was such a hard worker that I was thinking, if I'm going to work so hard for them, I might as well do it for myself.
Yeah.
Especially managing the problems for other people.
Yeah.
So, I kind of had to weigh the pros and cons. Like, if those problems were my problems, would I be able to handle it?
Yeah.
And once I got to the point that I knew, hey, I can handle this financially and just skills wise, that's when I decided to do it. So it came out of a place of just, it can't get any worse than this, to be honest.
Right. If I'm going to work my butt off,
Yeah.
I might as well work my butt off for myself.
Exactly.
So how long after your transplant did you start your venture to entrepreneurship? And did you do the traditional route, like a business plan? Did you have a mentor?
Yeah.
What were the steps that you took?
Gosh, I think it was about a year and a half. Year and a half after the transplant. I'm terrible with dates. Everything around that time is such a blur, to be honest.
Bet, yeah.
I feel like I lost a year and a half of time.
Yeah.
But so let's just say about a year and a half, and I did not do a business plan.
I didn't either my first time around, or my second, actually.
It's pretty crazy. I think my husband and I just went out to dinner once, and we were writing on like a napkin,
Yep.
and we were thinking, and like using notes on an iPhone,
Yep.
and we were thinking, if God blesses this, it could really work. And so once we realized, well, I'm a cautious person, and I think because I'm so cautious, I wanted it to be pretty easy for it to work.
Yeah.
Because there's so many unknown things that can just tank your business. So for me, it needed to look great on paper.
Yeah.
And then if things come at it that I can't imagine, I still have a fighting chance.
Yeah, that it'll be okay,
That I'll
right?
be okay, yeah.
Okay, so why cabinetry? Interior design, I feel like, is so vast,
Yeah.
right? So what drew you
Yeah.
to kitchens and cabinets and making cooking areas pretty?
Yeah, that is such a good question. I haven't really thought about it, but I guess I love art.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a painter. I would do like the art camp, and all my siblings would be doing, athletic things, and probably a lot also because of my health as a child.
Yeah.
I would be in the corner painting and drawing. So I went to college, and I was going to be a nutritionist. And then
That's a big switch.
Totally different. I know. I'm one of those like math science-y people,
Yeah.
but also like creative.
Totally.
So a total weirdo, basically.
Creative melting pot. That's wonderful.
Yes. So a roommate of mine she wasn't a roommate, but a close friend of mine in college, she decided to go into interior design, and she had a very structured family, very goals oriented. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, if you get to do something fun, if it's okay for you to do interior design, then I should be able to do it too. So I was like, I don't really want to do nutrition. So I ended up switching because most of the classes were art, some sort of art background.
Yeah.
So it was, to me, I knew I wasn't a good enough artist to make a living in that area. So I should probably keep it as a hobby. But then interior design gave me at least a creative outlet to get some aesthetic drawing, beauty things in that area. So I switched to interior design, and then it wasn't long before I realized there's just too many pillowy, fluffy, I can't, carpets and pillows.
Lots of things.
I needed some, I love it for myself, but
Right.
the math science-y part needed something. So I ended up starting with kitchen design out of college, and it made so much sense because of the architecture, because of the math. It's like a puzzle. It's so easy to get things wrong, but there's there's limitation. Yeah, there's like a starting place with it.
So have you ever gotten anything really wrong?
Oh gosh, most projects. So again, I'm blessed. No, nothing terrible.
Right.
But on every single project, there's always that one thing that maybe you wish you did better.
Yeah.
Comparatively speaking, I've managed a lot of people, and I'm going to be honest, it can be a train wreck.
Yeah.
Like just all you have to do is order one thing an inch wrong, and the whole thing doesn't
ruined.
work.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure in that sense, but it comes with experience. And that's another reason that I decided to do my own thing was
You
because
had
I was
so much.
Yeah, and I was managing 7 other inexperienced designers at that point to, be making the money I wanted. And they just made so many mistakes, and I was the face of it.
Right.
So
it was your mistake.
Yes, it was my mistake.
Yeah.
So I decided, let's just stop that.
So how did your parents feel? I know Uncle Roy is an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. That's one of the first things Ryan told me about
Yeah.
your family is the entrepreneurial value in it, which I think is wonderful. And then when he told me about Uncle Roy, I was like,
Uncle
I
Roy.
need to meet Uncle Roy. So your dad is Uncle
Yeah.
Roy. How did your parents feel about your decision to transition out of the mainstream work environment to your
Yeah.
own?
You know, they are, if you've obviously been around my
Yeah.
family a lot, and our favorite thing to do is to talk about business ideas.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
Like we're all inventing something every 1 minute.
Listen, Ryan, every day, I have this new idea for an app for this, for
Yeah,
that. And it's
yeah.
just, it's fun.
Right. It's good. It's good conversation.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm the youngest of 5, so I don't know how I got this super cautious bone, but I'm like steady netty type of a personality.
Yeah.
I love benefits. I love, you know, steady paychecks
Yeah.
and things. But with the downturn in the economy and in the home building
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
I ended up being put on commission way back
wow.
then when it was like, good luck selling anything.
Jeez.
So I know, thanks a lot. But it was a great moment in my life. It taught me so much. My boss came in, he had tears in his eyes. He was laying off like half the company. And he said, you know, Erin, we're going to have to switch you from salary to commission. And for some reason, I looked him in the eye and I said, you know what? This is fine. It's an opportunity for God to bless me. And I actually made double that year in the down economy than I
What?
ever had on commission. So I realized that, you know, if you hustle, if you know, that there's ways that you can be blessed no matter what the environment.
Absolutely.
And so that taught me a lot as far as confidence and you know, you can survive in this.
Yeah.
So I think having been on commission, it softened the idea of entrepreneurship because you don't have anything guaranteed
Right.
at all.
Right. Ever.
So that prepared me. And then I think my dad, Uncle Roy, he's the best. Knowing that he's had all these businesses, he felt like he would be almost a safety net for me. So I know it made him more comfortable because he's been there.
He can guide you, mentor you through.
Exactly. He could probably see a problem before it happened.
Right.
But I'm a little on the independent side, so it's I kind of just decided I'm going to do it all myself.
Yeah.
But he's there for the moments where I'm crying, but he's totally confident, totally comfortable with it. I would say overconfident.
Yeah.
My parents liked the idea of me doing this well before I was even ready.
Well, that's a blessing too.
Absolutely.
To have people in your corner from the beginning. You
Yes.
know, like, I didn't have that.
Oh, I can't even imagine that.
My mom is very by the book, very cautious, very detail oriented, very, you need insurance, you need steady paycheck and all of that. And it took her a while to come around.
Yeah.
It took the fruits of my labor being seen before she was like, oh, okay.
This might work.
This might work.
Yes.
So that's really wonderful. I do want to talk about faith in business.
Yeah.
How has your faith really helped support
Yeah.
your vision?
Man, I'm convinced that my business would have failed without
Really?
it. Yeah, you know, I struggle. I go back and forth between my natural tendency is to outwork a problem, you know, to dot every I and cross every T 3 times. And then maybe, you know, because my business in construction, there's purchasing, there's the actual manufacturing, there's the design, there's the customer.
So many moving parts.
Yeah. So all of the logistics, there's so many areas, even delivery, where damages, there's a lot of different spaces where something can go wrong and it's 100% outside of my control.
Yeah.
So I try to control everything else to a point where it will limit the amount of exposure that I have.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I tend to just work myself to death.
We talked about that.
Yes.
We're going to circle back to self-care too.
Yes, thank you. I need to. Self-care is my weakness. But I know I need to, though. Like, I can be self-indulgent, but the balance anyway. So for me, the faith aspect of it is a lot of times realizing that I do some things out of fear. And because I will work hard, I will find a solution. So I feel like, you know, for me, when I really check in with God, I get a better sense of, I'm going to get you the solution. You still might have a ton of problems that you're like, I can't believe this happened to me.
Right.
But there's, you know, there will be a solution. So that space in between problem and solution where I just am panicking and crying and embarrassed, you know, whether it's my fault or not, it all
Right.
feels like my fault.
Right.
So that stress in that moment, I think my faith has certainly helped to say, Erin, God's been there before. Fast forward to where the problem's solved.
Right.
And like, get your peace back. So
Get your peace back.
yes.
Yes.
So I'm getting to the point where, not letting things steal my peace, even though I don't have a solution yet.
Yeah.
So that's been 100% just my faith, because my natural personality is to just
freak out.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we chatted a few weeks ago at your sister's house about a big project that you were going to take on, and then the client pulled out, or the customer pulled out.
Yep.
How do you deal with things like that? Because I'm sure that's a big disappointment, but also it comes along with business.
Yep.
So how do you balance that disappointment with, okay, this is business?
I try to learn lessons. So I've been at this on my own I quit about 2 years ago. And then, of course, there's a long process of finding the studio, starting the business, and all of that. But
Absolutely.
I would say that over the 2 years, what is a continual theme for me is just when you get knocked down, do something with it. Like make something better because of that. Learn your lesson, tweak things, and don't be too sad.
Yeah.
But so with losing this huge job, it probably would have made at least a quarter or two of what I needed to make for that year. I basically just learned that lesson of, okay, this can happen, obviously, which I knew, but that now it gives me an opportunity to put up boundaries that people can understand.
Right.
So I can say, I know I'm a small business, and I know everyone out there is giving free kitchen designs
do
on
it.
Saturday, Sunday, whatever. They'll go to your house whenever. But yeah, I can't do that. I'm a small business. And even though the only companies that do design retainers and design fees are very high-end, established businesses, just sort of trying to own that my product is just as good, my service is better, so I'm gonna have to charge you. I gotta live.
Yes.
And
yes.
so that was just an opportunity that I hadn't had. So now the customer who's involved in that situation, because it was actually with a home builder, that home builder who gives me repeat business is now comfortable with the idea of, okay, Erin, we can't string Erin along. She's putting her foot down. So it's that was an opportunity. I still have to spread that out to other customers so that everyone is on that same page.
Yeah.
And as a small business, you can't always do business the way you want.
Yeah.
So I will have customers that I won't be able to do a design fee if I want the opportunity to work with them.
Right. And I know that there's sacrifices, right? And there's flexibility in certain situations. But I feel like sometimes when people address small businesses, they think that we're like giving handouts because we're small businesses.
Oh, it's the worst.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way.
No, it's the worst.
I've had
abuse is real.
Oh yeah, and I don't know, and I don't even think it's intentional. It's just like, we'll scratch your back, you scratch ours, and it's like, for instance, with my business Ballman Co., a lot of people reach out for samples.
Sure.
And that's fine, but not 150 samples. So I had this one company say that they need X, Y, and Z amount of samples for X, Y, and Z amount of events. And I'm like, I just can't give you that.
Right.
And, they may, not be happy about that.
Sure.
But like you said, I'm a
and they
small
may move
business
on to someone who
someone
will do
who
that.
can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not a Dove or a Shea Moisture. I'm a very small business.
Right.
So when they can give you these awesome sample sizes, they're not making them all by hand.
Right.
They have manufacturers and things like that.
Absolutely.
So it can just be kind of tricky and difficult, but setting those boundaries and saying no.
Did you say no?
Of course I said no. No. Of course I said no. But like if they would have asked for 20 samples, that'd be different.
Yeah, just be reasonable.
Right.
Yeah.
150 samples.
That's
How am I
so
do
crazy.
it? I'm a one-woman
Right,
show.
exactly.
And it's expensive.
Right.
And I don't think people understand how expensive it is. And time costs money when you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's something that I am still struggling to learn, and that's something that my husband gets after me all the time about is, Erin, you give your time away too easily. Because I try to be there,
Yeah.
Hey, Erin, someone will call me, something happened on site, we don't know what to do here. Will you just come out? And, just the trip out there, when I used to do this for a larger company, I never went anywhere for anyone,
Right.
you know, and they really didn't expect me to.
Right.
But now I'm the easy button, which it's cool because I know they appreciate what I'm doing.
And trust you.
And trust
right?
me, yes. So I like that on the one hand, but it can be abused so easily as a small business.
Yeah.
So.
So you mentioned boundaries. So let's talk about work-life balance.
Yeah.
You told
Help
me
me.
when you got into the studio,
Help
you worked Monday until 4 a.m.
Yes.
So
It's the truth.
how does your work-life balance come into play? And does your husband have anything to say about it?
Sure does. He's the best. You know, I started the business because I did want more balance.
Yeah.
And I did think, you know, it's important for my health. I need to exercise. I need to sleep, you know, things that everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
And that was just the one area that I have epically failed in. And my expectations were unrealistic from the start. I always, when I was planning the business, I said, well, you know, if I can't and do, you know, I've got this investment that I have to make in a design studio, and if I don't pay it off in a year, then that's a waste of time. And everyone says, Erin, no, you can't pay off an investment for 3 years. And I think, well, then I should just keep my job because I'm not working for free. And until that thing's paid off, I feel like I'm working for free. So that was a big challenge for me, that initially the startup hustle is insane.
It's real.
Yes. So the amount of hours I was putting in initially, like 6 or 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, of just pure misery just to get it off the ground, was surprising. I didn't realize how long it would take because I'm an efficient, fast person. Does not matter.
Does not matter.
Does not matter. So you have to, I was miserable. I probably initially cried every day and said, why did I do this? You know, and then would try to have the faith moment where I was like, because God opened a lot of doors for you. So there was always an answer to that.
Right.
Lots of doors were opened. Stop crying, keep going.
Yeah.
So that was the first year. And then I did pay off the studio, which I'm so proud of.
That is a huge deal.
Hallelujah. Yeah. That was awesome. So I think I paid that off about 15 months in. So
That's major.
I'm so proud. It wasn't the year that I had wanted, but that's, hey, making money. Love it. Yes. So now I'm actually making money. So I'm proud of that. Thank you. So for me, I think wanting to pay it off really destroyed the balance. And then now that I'm past that, I've moved on to the next thing, which I feel like is a common theme with entrepreneurship. You make it over one hurdle, and then there's another one that comes to
waiting for you.
Waiting for you. So my first hurdle was like work, pay off the studio, take every job. Second hurdle is, okay, now you know you're not going to put your husband out of, you know, a house, and you're not going to ruin your life.
You guys had just bought a house, right?
A few years ago, but we
earlier.
used the equity. We used all of our savings, everything, and lots of debt.
So, okay, so
Yeah.
pause for 1 second.
Yeah.
I have investment written down here.
Sure.
So you guys self-funded.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Because
Sure.
I know people are wondering, should we go to the bank
Yeah.
or should we take a risk and use
Yeah.
our own money?
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it like I didn't want any investors if I could avoid it.
Yeah.
Because they just take,
You're
it
like
takes
me.
longer.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I don't want it. I don't
Yeah.
want their input,
Yeah.
and I don't want to take longer to pay myself back.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be stuck paying them ever. So I actually, if I couldn't have done it myself, as far as just use the home equity and use our savings and every penny on our credit card, and
Wow. So you guys,
it was just
y'all went
it was
all
expensive,
in.
all in.
Were
Totally.
you guys scared of that?
I think it's all about faith again.
Yeah.
You know, I think that
Like, if it's going to be, it's going to be. And I have to trust God in this.
Yes, and the worst thing that happens, you know, God forbid, is that like no one's going to put me in jail. We're
Right.
just going to lose the house. Like, just going to lose the house. But you know,
That's a big.
you know, but once
Right.
you feel like, with again back to the transplant,
Yeah.
that could have been it is a life or death moment.
Yes.
And I think once you go through something like that, losing a
decide to
house,
live.
yeah,
It's
who
nothing.
cares?
Yeah.
It is nothing.
Yeah.
So for us, and my husband was really supportive. That's the other thing, is that
Your
he was
husband
all
is
in.
like awesome.
He's the
Didn't
best.
he give you
Yes, I'm sitting here today because of he gave me his kidney. Yeah. So
when Ryan
little
told me
piece of
that,
him.
I was like, oh my God. It was just like, it's
I
so
could cry
romantic
just thinking
and
about
just
it.
I know
Yeah.
it sounds crazy to say that's romantic, but really, it's like...
I still get goosebumps that, I literally wouldn't be here. Every single day his kidney keeps me alive. It just today is brought to you by Ken Foster. so it's
that is so special.
it's so beautiful, and he's just the best. So God gave me a good one.
Like, these pregnancy hormones are kicking in. I'm literally about to like start crying. That is...
I know, me too, but it's not hormones. It's just my life.
that too.
But yeah, so he's
special.
super supportive,
Yeah.
and so financially, he wouldn't have freaked out if we lost everything either. Nobody wants to do that, but
Of
I
course.
think it's that blend of, okay, it's a smart. There is a smart plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to be successful if things go well.
Right.
So it's not a long shot. I would never have
Right.
invested money on a long shot.
Absolutely.
I've been doing it for, 10, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people in the industry. So there were a lot of good things, and then just doors opening. So I found a great studio at a great price. But had I not had equity in my house, or savings, or an awesome credit line, thank you, Roy, my dad. He had me on a credit card when I was like 8 years old, so it built up credit. So I have
Wonderful.
great credit.
Wonderful.
So little things like that. But had I not had that to be able to do it
Right.
myself, then what I was planning on doing was actually partnering with an existing studio so that I wouldn't have to have the investment.
Oh, got
And
it.
I still wouldn't have to have investors.
Got it.
So, I do think that if you can avoid it, it's better.
I say that too.
Yeah.
I say that
Yeah,
too.
even if you have to sacrifice a little bit,
Yeah.
or maybe it's not exactly what you thought it would be. So in
But
my
it's
case,
yours.
it's yours. Yes, you can do with it what you want. So, and then it's yours to lose. I mean, You're
Right.
not going to drag anybody down with you.
Exactly.
I didn't explore the bank option that much. So that's
It just seems daunting when I watch
Yeah.
certain shows, or when people go on Shark Tank and things like that. It just seems daunting. People are asking for $500,000 for X amount of stake in their business, and
Right.
it's like, ooh,
yeah.
that's a
Dang.
lot of dollars
Right.
to
It's-
pay back.
Yes, exactly. And again, for someone who wanted to pay things back quickly,
Right.
it was easier, I think, that way.
That's
So,
really good to know.
yeah.
Good tip. I hope
Yeah.
you guys have your pens and pencils out and notebooks, because this is good stuff. So back to work-life balance.
Yeah. That one. That one again.
I want to double back on that,
Yeah.
and your self-care, because we chatted about that, and you said self-care is not where it should be, and that you're a one-woman show and you're not interested in taking on
Yeah.
any help.
Yeah.
So have you thought about how you can not even necessarily cater to yourself, but just make sure that you're replenished so that you can not only run your business successfully, efficiently, and top notch, but also not feel like you're dying at the end of the day?
I think that the one thing I do that is probably good is I do keep it as that is the goal.
Yeah.
So the goal isn't money. The goal is balance. And so once I got past that first hurdle of pay back the studio,
Right.
now I think the only reason that I haven't found balance where I want it to be, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Certainly getting better.
Yeah.
Is that my customer base, when they need something, they need it. There are lead times. There are, I want my kitchen done before my kids go back to school or before Thanksgiving. And all you have to do is look at a calendar and realize, well, then we got to move
Now.
now. So that pressure goes on me immediately.
Do you enjoy that pressure? Like, is it
no.
thrilling? No.
No, I mean, I do well with it. I
Yeah.
have endurance. So like the mental endurance is there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, it would be an epic fail, and I'd be making the mistakes and everything.
Right.
But so I enjoy the fact that I can hustle and get something done at 4 a.m, submit that order, and say, I did the best for my customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if it doesn't get installed in time, it is anyone's fault but mine.
Right.
So
Right.
that is cool. But that's where the work-life balance is still lacking. It's just because of the industry. Like
Right.
the industry demands what it demands.
Right.
And a friend of mine who's an interior designer, she had said, I'll never get into kitchens because all kitchen designers are miserable because it's kind of that type of an environment.
Yeah.
So for me to get the balance, I feel like it's going to be a matter of taking less work.
Yeah.
And so then it's a question of, in order for me to make that decision,
Right.
I have to see where is the best work coming from. Is it homeowners? Is it remodelers? Is it custom builders? And all those three people, it's like for every one good project, they have one that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think it'll get better naturally
Yeah.
just by knowing and learning where, your money comes from.
Absolutely.
And
it's
where your
still
headaches
new.
come from. Yeah,
I mean, you guys are still new. And I think that's very, it's awesome. It's super admirable to know that you have all these things set in place and that you're making money and, you know, like you've paid off your debt. Like that is what people need to hear, specifically women and women of color, because it is possible for us to have our own thing.
Yes.
And that is, you know, I just think it's wonderful.
And, you know, when you say women of color, I will say that one of the biggest blessings and one of the biggest surprises where, you know, again, I think I look at it as faith, is the opportunities that I've had as a woman of color to work with extremely high-end people that, you know, could look at me, who knows in what way and what light, and that to be able to garnish their respect is totally possible.
Absolutely.
And I, you know, didn't even as just a woman, let alone woman of color in the construction industry. You can do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can totally do it. And I think it's about how you carry yourself. It's about respect. And it's about hard work. And I think that people recognize hard work no matter what package it's in.
Yeah.
But for women out there and women of color out there, you are going to have to work harder.
10 times.
Yep.
That's just how it is, right?
Can't even fake. Like, it's going to be harder.
Yeah, it's going to be
but
harder.
You can do it.
It's so rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Having that voice and just being able to say, I did this.
Yes.
So we're going to wrap up, but I do want to ask if you have 3 tips for entrepreneurs, whether they are, you know, newly starting out or already in business and struggling. What would be some of your tips for them?
One, never lose sight of trying for the balance. You're going to help me get it, but
I am.
Yep, don't lose sight. Like, that still needs to be the goal. It's not about the money always.
Yeah.
2, know when to give up. I hate to say that, but
that is so good to
you know,
say.
you gotta. I'm not married to this. You know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and things are going to be fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, beat the horse a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then if you find that it's just really not, it doesn't feel good, put a deadline on it. You know, if I don't get this where it needs to be for me to enjoy it by this point, then I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to be proud of myself for having done it. And I'm not going to feel bad at all that it didn't go where I wanted it to go. And that's something that my husband laughs at, because I could fold this thing in a minute and still be really proud of myself.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I try. Maybe the third thing would be just, you know, that when you have the problems, because problems happen, you got to just find a way to learn from them. Know that you'll find that solution, and in that middle space, just try to hold on to your peace and, you know, keep it together. And then all of a sudden it becomes more enjoyable.
That's wonderful.
Thanks.
Erin, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you? Online, your website, all that good stuff.
Yeah, the tip should have been market. So do some marketing. All of my business is usually word of mouth, but you can find me online. It's I have a website, fosterandcodesign.com. So you can find me fosterandcodesign.com.
Yay, wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hey Girl is a member of the District Productive Network. Produced by Jamie Benson and me, Alex Elle. Music provided by DC's own Kokai.